Hi, friends. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to the Lash Extension podcast. I'm Erin.
And I'm Tress, and today we are going to be talking about lash portfolio sets, what they are, why you would use them, when you would create them, and how to create them. And this is a subject that's really near and dear to my heart because I've done portfolio sets for a very long time. I've done lashes for photo shoots for a very long time. And it's something that we all have a tendency to compare our own work to day in and day out. And I want you to know why why people do them and how they do them and how you can accomplish them for yourself so that you can market yourself on social media, market yourself differently, and really help you level up your skill set by creating these sets, which we call portfolio sets. So my first question is, what is a portfolio set?
Yeah, a portfolio set is, first of all, it's really important to differentiate the difference between an everyday lash and a portfolio set. Generally, a portfolio set is going to be something that's scheduled, whether you have a model coming in, that you have a delegated significant amount of time rather than a general, full set coming in. Generally, they take close to 2 times the amount of time because it's such precise movements and placements and layering. It is definitely something that is meant for photo shoots more so because it's going to be marketing campaigns for your business and a very particular version of marketing your skill set and the looks that you're wanting to sell and market on, whether it be on your website, whether it be on your Instagram page, versus an everyday lash set. That's not to say that an everyday lash set you care less or that you're, doing less for your clients. Let me be clear about that. But there is going to be a little bit of a difference with how they photo shoot, how they wear, and placements, and certain things aren't going to matter as much with an everyday lash set than with a portfolio set, because an everyday lash set is meant to last, for weeks and weeks and weeks. The client's going to be wearing them throughout those weeks. They're going to have, differentiating lifestyle things that happen, and the precise things about an everyday set might look just a tad bit different than the precision required for portfolio sets that are made for photo shoots. And photo shoot lashes require so much more attention to detail that generally you wouldn't need, or you wouldn't be able to even tell the difference in an everyday set when they open their eyes. Like, for example, if one single lash is out of place or sitting just above the lash line, that's going to photo shoot much differently and stand out much more in a photo shoot portfolio set rather than an everyday client. When they open their eyes, they're not even going to notice that one single lash because it's not on camera. So that's mainly the difference between the two. Marketing is really, really, this is something really important to take into consideration within your business, to consider doing portfolio sets and campaign sets and having professional photography potentially, or if you even don't have a professional photographer, to do designated model sets for your portfolio to build your portfolio for lashes and the ability that you have to do lashes, because that's really going to set you apart in the industry. Clients are going to come to you because of the work that you're putting out. And if you have the best work being represented, then you can market yourself a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're really looking at portfolio sets, one of the words that you used was model. And to me, model and marketing, like those are the two times that, like, when you think about taking a lash model, typically we think about taking a lash model when we're learning something new. But have you considered taking a lash model to show your actual expertise and how capable you are of doing something? Whether it's a specific technique or a specific style of lash or a specific application. So when I started taking model sets or portfolio sets, because in my mind, those things are interchangeable,
Mm-hmm.
when I started taking them, it was well into my career, after I took model sets as a beginner, and I started taking them to go, okay, I need to push myself. I need to push my skill set. I
Mm-hmm.
need to prove to myself that I can accomplish the things that I have been learning. And I was so surprised to see that when I wasn't doing lashes for somebody else and I wasn't doing lashes for social media or for the client, I was doing them to see what I was capable of and put all of the theory in my head to work and take as much time as I needed to do it. I was capable of really great things. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like such a beautiful, beautiful moment. Like I had tried doing strip lash looks on clients before years ago when strip lash looks were first a thing. I had tried doing strip lash looks on clients and they all kind of fell short. And then I took a model or took somebody for a portfolio set to take pictures, and all I focused on was the perfect precision placement that a strip lash set needed. And when my client opened her eyes, I almost wept with joy. Because before that, just in my daily life, I didn't think I was capable of doing this.
Yeah. It's really incredible with portfolio sets and really delegating an extra amount of time to apply the information that you just learned in a new class. It's really incredible to see that you actually did sponge up all of that information. You can apply it forward. I think a lot of people get hindered with being able to apply the technical applications or theories that they learned in a class because they aren't giving themselves the full amount of time or more or extra time than they originally book out for full sets or for fills to be able to actually practice the precision and different application processes that maybe they could learn, because practice takes longer than what you're comfortable with. And when you think about what you're comfortable with now with your technique and how you've gotten to the speed that you've gotten at, it's because you started with giving yourself a lot longer to practice that. And the more you practice those new techniques and apply those, then the faster you'll be able to get at them in the future. But it's really incredible when you're talking about, how you were able to really prove to yourself that you got or that you were able to do all of these incredible things and successfully create these looks. Would you say that it's because you gave yourself more time to be able to actually, instead of rushing yourself through your sets, you were able to really think about the precision in your placements and you were able to slow down with them?
Yeah, this might sound a little corny, but the fact that I gave myself as much time as I needed and I gave myself grace. Like literally I was kind to myself through it. I've always been incredibly hard on myself about technique and about form and about doing the best that I possibly can, but when it came to doing portfolio sets for the first time, not on a photo shoot. This was like pre-photo shoot days for me.
Mhm.
When it came to doing these sets for the first time, I didn't hold any expectation over myself. I didn't even go, this is for marketing, this is for Instagram right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I did, but in those first days when I was first learning to do this for myself, I was literally doing it for myself. And that's what made the biggest difference for me. I had all the time I needed. I made sure that I had somebody in front of me who was kind and gracious and going to sit there with me for hours. And I just did the best I could. And it's concerning for me because I have coaching clients who I talk to about upping their skill set and about creating a specific look that a client wants. And they are looking at inspiration that they've either found on Pinterest or found on Instagram of like these incredible lash sets. And then they try to do this with a first time client in a 2.5 hour appointment. And they're
Right.
disappointed with themselves because they didn't accomplish that specific look. And I
Right.
guess I'm here to say there are some genius lash artists out there that can look at something like that and replicate it, but not a whole lot that I know,
Yeah.
especially on fresh eyeballs with lashes that you have never seen or touched before. And then you're trying to accomplish something incredibly detailed and precise, and you don't even know if you can accomplish that on anybody yet.
Mhm.
And then you beat yourself up for the fact that you didn't do exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
And that's heartbreaking to me.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. When I've done portfolio sets, it's one to prove to myself that I do have that application skill set and like taking my time to really do my best work, as well as to potentially practice a new set that I've been wanting to try and see, how good I can make it and how precise I can place. Like if I, for example, a strip lash look, I don't particularly specialize in those. So I know how to do them, but I don't market them. So I don't generally do those on models. So every once in a while, when I'm like, I really want to do the most perfect wispy look or the most perfect strip lash look, I will take photos and I will take a model with the intention of making this a portfolio set, and I will do the absolute best work that I can on this model. I will take my photos, and if I choose to use them, I will. And sometimes I don't, particularly because what you post on your page is the type of client and the type of set that you're mostly going to pull in for your clientele. So for me, I only market Perfect Line Mega Volume because even though I offer Classic Plus, even though I can give a wispy look, even though I can give a strip lash look, even though I can make all of these different maps and stylings should my client request it, I don't particularly want to specialize in those. I absolutely love Perfect Line Mega Volume, so that's what I market. So when we're talking about portfolio sets here, do keep that in mind when you're building your portfolio. Think about it from a marketing perspective with the types of clients that you want to pull in and the types of clients that you want to be marketing to and the set that you are wanting to fill your books with doing. For example, if you're an artist that wants to specialize in mega volume, but all you're posting on your social media is classic lashes because the majority of your clientele currently gets classic lashes, you're going to want to take portfolio sets and model sets specifically to um, practice and show the precision skill set that you have in the mega volume space to specialize in that. So that way you can market to your ideal clientele. And then all of a sudden your clientele can shift from all classic clients to majority mega volume clients. So that's why I only post Perfect Line Mega Volume on my Instagram, is because that's what I specialize in and that's what I want to be known for. And that's where my niche is in my local area. So consider that when you are taking models and when you are wanting to build your portfolio. It's amazing to be a very versatile lash artist where you can create a ton of different looks. You should be able to create all the different looks, understand layers, understand mapping, understand how to map your client accordingly to their face, and be really, really an expert in that area, because that's customizing a lash set, right? So as long as you can do those, you can build a portfolio with your niched style of lashes that you want to be known for, as well as being a very versatile artist and being able to accommodate any requests that your clients could potentially ask you for. That doesn't necessarily mean that it has to go in your portfolio. That was something that I really fell into the mentality of thinking when I was first trying to build my portfolio. Was I was like, okay, my portfolio means that it has to show how versatile I am as a lash artist. I have to perfect and be a master at every single mapping style. Anything that my client could ever request, I want to be the best at, and I want to build this portfolio based on every single style that you could imagine. It's kind of like when you go to, I don't know, a dry bar for your hair and you flip through these magazines and they have like every different style of hair that you could possibly want. I thought my portfolio needed to look like that. And I realized very, very soon after that that's actually hurting my clientele. It's hurting my business and it's hurting my niche for what I was actually wanting to do. And yes, I was pulling in clients from having a very versatile clientele, but every single set for me was different. One client wanted a strip lash look, one wanted a perfect line, one wanted extreme lengths, one wanted hybrid sets, one wanted, volumes, one wanted Russian volume. It was all over the map with what I was pulling in with my clientele. And for me, I wanted to niche it down a little bit more. So I consolidated my portfolio set and ended up I removed all of the beautiful work that I was very proud of that was different than perfect line mega volume, and where I still have those photos and I reminisce on those, and I absolutely love looking back on them. And every once in a while I will, do those in real life on my clients. I'll film my clients with that style of lash. But now all that I market and all that I post is a very specific niche sound style. And personally, that's what I'm doing.
So one of the things that I think it's really important to point out for the newer lash artists here is we're not telling you that you need to be a jack of all trades and that you need to learn how to do everything immediately.
Right.
I know that can be a little bit intimidating because you're a new lash artist and you see very established lash artists like Erin, like myself, like so many other people out there. And you're like, oh my gosh, they do all of this. I have to do all of this. I have to do all of this perfectly, and I have to do it right now. And that is overwhelming and that is exhausting. So please give yourself grace in that. I don't even know what a realistic time frame would be, but I'm honestly thinking at this point, like 2 to 3 years to feel like you are comfortable giving all of these different kinds of styles. So as Erin was talking about her perfect top line mega volume, and that's how she markets, if you only do classic lashes, or you only do classic and hybrid, or you only do classic and classic plus, which would be like unfanned fine diameter lashes, then keep those as what you specialize in, while behind the scenes you're continuing to learn the other styles. I just want to give that as a disclaimer because I know that's Erin's heart. I know that's my heart. And we want you to know that you're doing great and you're going to keep adding on to these things, not needing to do them immediately.
Absolutely.
Erin and I have a little bit of a different experience in that though, because she was working on building her clientele and I was working on building students and my following.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was working on marketing, right? So when I was working on perfecting these lash sets for myself, I had the time to do that. I wasn't taking a full clientele. I wasn't lashing 24/7. I didn't have a whole bunch of clients that were like trying to get me to do looks all over the place. But if I did have a full clientele, I guarantee you they would have been all over the place because what I post was all over the place. I'd post a strip lash look one day, I'd post a classic short C curl the next day, I'd do like super long fluffy mega volume the next day, and it was wild. That was my intention at that point in my career though. I had already been a lash artist for 13 years. I did crap lashes for a long time, and that's fine. I'm super happy to own that. But but I was at a point in my career where I was like, okay, now is the time for me to master everything. I want to do perfect Russian volume. I want to do perfect mega volume. I want to do perfect classic lashes. So give yourself grace there. The other thing is, in order for me to master these things and teach other people these things, I needed to know for myself that I could do what I was talking about.
Right.
Because I'm not okay doing something in theory and not being able to do it with my hands.
I completely agree.
So I was dead focused on portfolio sets and making them perfect because I know it's capable. So second disclaimer, I'm using my hands and like gesticulating like people are watching me and they're not, but that's okay. Second disclaimer, 2 fingers held up. Portfolio sets still aren't perfect from every angle 95% of the time.
Amen.
Sometimes you will find a set of lashes that is done so perfectly you just want to like fall to the floor and weep for joy because they are gorgeous from every angle, and that's not reality. It's not. They are great from one specific camera angle for videos. They are great from a couple specific camera angles for photos, and those babies are brushed into place consistently. I still do it. Like if I'm doing a portfolio set, I will still brush them into place before every main photo that I take because I know that that's how I place them and how they can be. So there's a couple of things that we really want to touch on for how you create these portfolio sets and like give you actual technical tips that you can take. You don't even have to see them. You can take them and understand them and internalize them and then go apply them to what you're doing in your work when you take a model set or you take a portfolio set.
I think that it's so cool. I think that it's also important to mention that everybody's portfolio sets are going to evolve and they're going to look different with every style and every time that you do a portfolio set. If you are a newer artist, start doing portfolio sets and taking models now and doing your best photos, because I promise you, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years down the road, you're going to look back at these portfolio photos and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, look at my progress. I feel so like just liberated. It feels so incredible. It feels empowering. Start now. Even if you feel like your work is not top tier, everything that you're seeing on Instagram, it may not resemble Instagram lashes, which, by the way, are extremely edited. And the majority of portfolio sets that are on Instagram are not real life lashes. So don't compare your work to those photos.
Especially your fills. Dear God,
Lord,
please don't compare your fills to portfolio sets.
just please don't. They're so different. And the amount of time in between them and how long they've spent on creating them, they are the most beautiful lashes. I absolutely love looking at them on Instagram, but do keep in mind that your work, it's okay if you are not creating sets that look identical to Instagram just yet. So give yourself grace with that. But why do you think that how do you think that we should be creating portfolio sets, Tress?
How do I think we should be creating them? Like with technique?
Yeah, or like, I don't know, choosing one, how to do them. What do you think about the how regarding
Great.
portfolio sets?
So I believe that if you've never taken a model set or a portfolio set for yourself before, you've only done it to like take Instagram photos or videos or whatever, I believe that you should start with the thing that you do the most. And that might be counterintuitive. You're like, no, I'm trying to do this to do something else. But if you specialize in one thing, or if you just do classic lashes, or if you've learned classic and volume and mega volume, but you still haven't mastered them, don't start with the thing you haven't mastered. Start with the thing you think you have mastered and see how good it can be. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember looking back on photos, like you said photos, start doing it now. I totally agree. I look back on photos from 6 and 7 years ago and sometimes 8 years ago, and I go, oh my God, I was a good little lash artist. And I was picking those photos apart. And I'm looking back at my work now going, wait, why did I think this was wrong? Like, why did I think this was bad? And it was because there would be one lash out of place. Or it's because like one eye looked slightly different than the other eye, right? And I was so focused on perfection at that point. So I would start with, coming back to where we were, I would start with the sets that you do the most and see how phenomenal you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
And the ways that you see how phenomenal you can get it are making sure that you are placing every lash with intention. That whatever section you are in, whatever like length section, every single lash in that length is pointing outward at the same direction. Now, it can be a 90-degree angle from the eyelid, like straight out from the eyelid. They can all be straight forward if you're trying to lift the eye. They can be out at an angle if you're trying to elongate the eye. But whatever it is, every fan in that section needs to be pointing in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, remove it or remove it and replace it. Like when we talk about precision lashing, this is the biggest thing for me is angle placement.
I agree.
And then the distance from the eyelid. You want to make sure that you are consistently placing those lashes the same distance from the eyelid. And if you know that you're not great at that yet, that's exactly why you need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at making sure everything is going in the same angle. The way I like to do that is I like to, as long as you're getting great isolation, I like to use narrower isolation for portfolio sets, because if we use really wide isolation, we move those lashes far out of the way, it can change the angle that the natural lash that we've isolated sits at.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the way that we place that extension on that lash, once all of the lashes relax back around it, it might be going off in a different direction and be sitting at a different angle than the rest in that specific area. So those two things, the distance from the eyelid and the direction they're placed, is going to be my like two biggest, this is what you focus on first. Don't focus on anything else. Your fans might not be perfect. You might be like, some of them might be closed, some of them might be open. It's okay if you choose to just try this with classic lashes first. Classic lashes, in my opinion, are the absolute hardest to make look perfect because you can see exactly where every single one of them is placed and what angle it's placed at. And if you want to get really good at direction placement and attaching them the same distance from the eyelid, I would do classic lashes for a portfolio set first.
Yeah, and to add to those few points of placing at your specific angle as well as placing as close to the eyelid as you can, I would focus on, especially if you're newer to doing portfolio sets, to getting 100% coverage. If you are somebody that is not getting 100% coverage day to day, this is the perfect opportunity for you to take extra time that you book out for this portfolio set and get 100% of the lashable lashes, including the very inner corner lashes and the very outer corner lashes. Of course, use your discernment here. I'm not talking about rogue lashes that are like in the very corner of the inner eye or the very outer corner of the eye that are pointing downwards and getting caught. I'm not talking about these ones, right? That's going to ruin your map overall. But so use your discernment here with what I'm talking about. But if you are somebody that struggles with getting those very inner corner lashes at the right angle, this is a perfect opportunity for you to practice your angular placement, both your inner corner all the way to the outer corner, as well as blending those lashes and really intentionally placing, whether it's top, side, or bottom of the lash line. For me, portfolio sets have been really, really helpful with me noticing where my blending could be better. And when you're doing side photography, you can really tell when there's gaps between the layers. So if you can focus on placing the top layer lashes, natural lashes, if you can place the extension underneath the top layer lashes. In the middle layer, if you can place top, side, or bottom. And on the bottom layer, place on the top of those natural lashes. To me, that gives me the most accurate and seamless blend between the layers when I do my final brush. This is also going to keep those lashes in place more, so you have to brush a little bit less throughout your portfolio sets as you're photographing them, in my experience. So these were a couple things that, honestly, when you're trying to perfect both getting 100% coverage, what side of the natural lash you're placing on, how close you're placing it to the lid, and what was the last one that you said, Tress? The placing it close to the lid. I'm blanking the last one all of a sudden.
It was that in the
The
angle.
angle.
That's
Oh my
the
goodness
main thing.
gracious. Yes, the angle. Thank you. I totally blanked it all of a sudden. But if you can focus on those 4 things for your portfolio sets, I promise you that is more than enough to keep you busy, and it will take you about double the time just by focusing on those few pieces with every single lash. The other thing that I notice with doing portfolio sets that I have the tendency to do is that I tend to, because it takes a lot longer, I like zone out. I find my brain going in an entirely different direction, and I like I don't even know where my brain goes, but I'm definitely not in the room when I'm lashing for 4+ hours at a time. So for me, I think the most challenging part with creating portfolio sets is honestly staying engaged and keeping my brain intentionally focused every single lash that I place. But at the end of the set, when you're taking these photographs, you staying engaged and staying so intentional with every single lash that you place is really going to make the most difference with the overall look. Because as soon as you zone out, then you kind of aren't paying as close attention to the angle, to how close you're placing it, or what side did I just place that lash extension on of that natural lash. I don't really know. So if you can stay the most engaged, then I think that at the end of the day, you're going to be very happy, and your brain might be so tired and you might need to take a nap afterwards. Like, I definitely know with how much focus it takes, like, I need a 10-hour nap for sure after portfolio sets, but it does make for very precise, and it really is incredible to see what you're actually capable of as a lash artist when you are doing portfolio sets that you stay engaged for.
So I have a few tips to round all of this out because I feel like that's a lot of information, but it's very good information. I think it's funny how you were like, that's more than enough to keep you busy. Amen. Yes, it is. But here are my biggest tips for when you are ending your portfolio set and taking pictures. Okay. Yes, get 100% of the lashes. Don't zone out and get tired and just start placing lashes at the end because you're exhausted. It's going to waste all of the work that you did leading up to that. Okay? So don't give up and just go, "Oh, I'm just going to finish it real fast."
Yes.
I've done it before. I regretted it.
Every time
Okay?
I regret that.
Yes. So get 100% of the lashes and then two things. Okay. One is give yourself and your model a break. Like you guys need a bathroom break. You probably need some coffee. You need a snack so that you're not angry and you need to move your body. Okay. Then come back and you need to brush their lashes and see where they lay and then pull, like gently lift or move any of the lashes that are disrupting the overall look of your set. Okay. So you will see some lashes on the top line that are like either laying funny or they're like popping up to say hi. And no matter what you do, you can't brush them back into the set. That's not what brushing lashes is for anyway. And there sometimes there's some where there's way more lashes in one area than there are in the rest. And so one area of the lash line looks really chunky or it looks fluffy or disheveled. Go through and isolate, like you have your model lay back down again, go through and isolate and remove and do not replace any of the lashes that are disrupting that set. Only replace them if they're going to leave a visible gap or if they're going to leave an area looking more sparse than the rest of it. But just remove the lashes that are disrupting your set. If it's a strip lash look and you have a spike that's going the wrong way, it is going to take you 2 minutes or less to remove it and replace it with a new spike that's laying in the correct direction. Okay. This is going to save your sanity when you're taking pictures. And then don't disengage when you're taking pictures. Don't just be like, oh my gosh, she wants to get out of here. I want to get out of here. I'm just going to take a couple and we're going to go because I did a good job. They're going to be good enough. No, girl. Like brush those lashes. Brush them in between each photo. Make sure that like you do a bunch of lashes where you've brushed them all exclusively downward and outward, right? Take tons of pictures from every angle you can imagine and then brush them upward and see if they lay in a little bit of a different angle and keep that spoolie between your fingers the whole time. Because if you just let them go and you take a bunch of pictures, your model's going to leave. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I just spent 5 hours of my life on that. I'm so proud. And then you're going to look back at the pictures and cry because pictures do not tell the same story as when we see lashes in person.
And nothing's worse than when you just did a 4+ hour portfolio set and then you aren't happy with the photos that end up coming out because you feel too tired or you didn't give yourself a break in between or you're just rushing through the photos and you're not happy with 99.9% of the photos that you actually got. If you're lucky if you get one or two that you're happy with. Really,
Right.
honestly, I think that I spend the most time. Obviously, I'm not spending 4 hours taking photographs, but I do think that I spend the most brain power and the most intentionality with the photo taking part of my portfolio sets than actually doing the lashes, which I'm very engaged and it's taking a ton of brain power doing the lashes. But at the end of the day, the reason that I'm doing these lashes is for the photos at the end. So if you're feeling like you're too burnt out at the end of these sets to take the photos, do whatever you need to do. Like Tress suggested, give yourself a bathroom break, eat a snack, drink some coffee, chug a Celsius, whatever you got to do to get yourself back in the saddle and really focused and having the patience and the energy to engage in taking really, really great photos at the end. Make sure that your camera lens is wiped off. Make sure that you have a macro lens available. Make sure your lighting is phenomenal. If you need extra lighting for portfolio sets, not just a ring light, then make sure you have those prepped. Honestly, I use parachute lights and a ring light for my portfolio sets. So generally, I use a ton of extra lighting, like professional photography lighting for my portfolio sets. I have them stand up, I have them lay down, I have them close, I have them open. There's so many more angles that I'm working with my model, because I want to get as many photos that I can, as many different angles that I can, with as many different backgrounds that I can, with great lighting throughout. So there's little editing to be done at the end with my lighting. The other thing about this, speaking of editing, do not edit your lashes. You guys, do not edit your lashes in your portfolio sets, on your Instagram page, wherever you're going to be posting these photos. Just don't edit your lashes. Just don't. Make sure that you're brushing the lashes and you're looking at the photos as you're working and taking the photos so that you can see, oh, this lash isn't photographing well. This lash needs to be brushed back into place. If you can get a really great original image, then you don't need to do editing. You don't need to do very much editing at all to the entire photo. The only editing that I do generally on portfolio sets is like lighting. That's about it. Sometimes skin if it needs to be touched up a little bit, but generally with portfolio sets, I'll have my models even go do their own makeup, touch up their makeup after they've awoken from their slumber and they're done with their lashing. Listen, you guys, when you have clients laying on your table for 4 to 5 hours, they want to stand up for a minute. They want to get touched up. They've been sleeping for a long time. Give them that opportunity to get their makeup touched up, to redo their hair, whatever they need to do. And it gives you both a little bit of a break after they've been laying down for that long. But coming back to the original editing portion here, take as many angles as you can. Make sure that your hands are still. Don't chug enough Celsius or enough coffee that your hands are shaking and you get like movement photos as Tress takes a drink of a Celsius as we're recording this.
Oh, I feel attacked.
Yeah, just make sure that your hands aren't shaking by the end of it. Give yourself some grace, give yourself time. Honestly, after my portfolio sets, if I know that I'm booking a model that day, I don't book clients after my portfolio sets. I have the entire day designated to this one set, and I'm going to do the best that I possibly can because I know that I have the entire day and as much time as I possibly want with this model. I also give my model a disclaimer that this set's going to take a ton more time and they should prepare to lay on their back for 4 to 5 hours. Generally, it doesn't take me nearly that long to do a portfolio set, but it might for you, especially if you're trying new techniques, especially if you are spending more time on angle and getting 100% coverage. If you're not used to getting 100% coverage as it sits, there is going to be a much longer time frame. So I would plan for double the amount of time that you normally plan for a full set. Don't book clients after this portfolio set. That way you don't feel rushed, your client doesn't feel rushed, and you can really, really make it count when it matters. What do you think about that?
I love that. I think that I was really excited to talk about a technical topic today.
Yeah.
And so if you guys enjoyed this and you want more technical topics talked about, there we go. Say that 5 times fast. Pop on Instagram and DM us or head to the Facebook group and chat about what you got out of this podcast or what you need more clarification on. And I'm just super excited to be here for it. This is one of my favorite topics is like, so maybe next time, maybe not next time, but maybe soon we can talk about photo shoots in general and how we run photo shoots and what all that entails. if somebody's interested in building their brand in that way.
And if you guys need a visual of what it looks like when a lash is out of place, I recently just posted a photo of a lash out of place sitting above the lash line. If you scroll down on my page just a little bit, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you can see a bit of an image of what to be aware of and what to notice in the photos as you're taking them. That way you can either remove the lashes that are sitting above the lash line. If you need a visual after this podcast, we're explaining things we're not showing you, right? So if you need that visual, you can go to my Instagram page. Monarch Lash Co is my Instagram page. And you can go find that photo and you can see what we're talking about and remove those lashes, replace them, and or just remove them in total if they're disrupting your overall lash line. So if you need that little visual, that's there for you.
Thank you, Erin.
Yes, of course. We want to invite you guys, like Tress mentioned, go to our Facebook group where you can ask all of your questions. Tress and I are very active in there. And you guys are welcome to support each other. There are no meanies allowed. Everybody is so kind and so supportive. If you need you have questions, you need answers to any of your mapping questions or just overall business questions, pop over into that group. It's called the Lash Extension Podcast Support Group on Facebook. And we would be happy to support you guys over there. So we are so excited. Thank you guys again so much for joining us today. And we hope that you have the best day. Love you.
Love you guys.